All right, let's go. I've got multiple devices here. I'm going to be talking to both of you, so let's get started. My name is Michelle Rolls. I'm a natural health educator. I help women regain energy, mood, and support their health and body with natural solutions, all while maintaining happiness in all this chaos that's going on. Okay, we're going to talk today about gut health. So let's start off with just like an introduction to gut health. In order to learn why we need to look at our gut health, we need to start at the beginning. Our gut is so much more than just our stomach. It's the entire tract from your mouth out to where everything comes out to your rectum. Everybody has an entire ecosystem, a city of bacteria living in our gut. If we don't fortify that city, it will leave us unprotected from the invaders that can weaken our body, like things like viruses, infections, etc. It is actually well documented that the gut is connected to many diseases. Okay, so let's get going. So, like I said, the gut is not just our stomach, it's the entire tube from our stomach to our rectum. There are 30% of the US population have some sort of form of irritable bowel syndrome. 84% of those are caused by overgrowth of bad bacteria in the gut, and thousands more diseases have been directly linked to the gut. Bacteria in your gut starts growing while you're in utero and mostly develops by the time you're 3 years old. The earlier antibiotics are used, the more damage they do to the gut. Probiotics are healthy bacteria, and prebiotics feed those bacteria. That's the benefit of like fiber, different starches, things like that, because those do feed the good bacteria. And the earlier you start taking probiotics, the more beneficial it is. Bad bacteria can permeate the wall and lead to leaky gut. Food intolerance, it can also lead to possibly food allergies. These start out small and get worse and worse. It feels like bloating, inflammation in the body, and etc. So that can look like an upset stomach, digestive issues, craving lots of sugars, so you have a high sugar diet, unintentional weight changes, sleep disturbances, or constant fatigue, skin irritations, autoimmune conditions, food intolerances. Okay, so why is your gut health so important? We have 3 to 4 pounds of bacteria alone in our gut. Bacteria does so many different functions, and it has a pecking order of importance. So if we somehow ended up with no bacteria in our gut, we would die. We need this good and bad bacteria in our stomach, in our gut. We are also being introduced to so many new invaders with our lifestyle and with life changes that good bacteria is actually having a hard time reproducing and protecting us, which is why we need to look at gut and supplements. So the gut, if the gut is damaged, you are like a city without walls. Without these defenses, you are more susceptible to viruses, parasites, bad bacteria, toxic substances, dangerous chemicals, candida, and so much more. But there's good news. Because the gut can heal itself. A lot of things that come with gut issues can heal, can clear up. Okay, so those things, to be able to heal the gut, it just takes time and consistency. Let's talk a little bit really quick about the gut-brain connection, because the gut has been connected. There's lots of studies that it can link anxiety, and the gut can link anxiety to the stomach problems and vice versa. Let me repeat that. It can link anxiety to stomach problems and vice versa. So stomach problems can link to anxiety. This brain and your gut. It's revolutionizing medicine understanding of the links between digestion, mood, health, and even the way we think. Scientists call this little brain the eccentric nervous system, ENS, and it's not so little. The ENS is 2 thin layers of more than 100 million nerves lining your gastrointestinal tract from your esophagus to your rectum. The eccentric nervous system doesn't seem capable of thought, obviously, as we know it, but it communicates back and forth with our big brain, and it has profound results. The ENS may trigger emotional shifts experienced by people coping with irritable bowel syndrome, functional bowel problems such as constipation, diarrhea, bloating, pain, stomach upset. For decades, researchers and doctors thought anxiety and depression contributed to the gut issues, but studies and other studies have shown that it may be the other way around. The gut is contributing to these anxiety and depression disorders. In fact, there are gastroenterologists may prescribe certain antidepressants for irritable bowel syndrome, not because they think that the problem is all in the head, but because these medications calm symptoms in some cases by acting on nerve cells in the gut. It's quite impressive, don't you think? There's also research that suggests that digestive system may affect cognition, like your thinking and memory. It's quite amazing how crazy linked everything is. It even is linked to our skin health. Our skin is in a constant state of renewal, and when this happens properly, in a state of homeostasis, it can perform functions like protection, temperature regulation, water retention, and more. And it can do those things better. There is evidence that directly links the gut bacteria, and that homeostasis to immune and skin issues. For example, a leaky gut has been shown to disrupt skin homeostasis through access through the bloodstream. So it goes into our gut, gets into our bloodstream, and you see it out in the skin. So acne, asthma, hay fever, eczema have all increased and are particularly prevalent in Western countries. A phenomenon thought to be related to the abundance of carbohydrates that we Western countries typically have in our diet, and that's really on the rise. There are certain gut bacteria that facilitate anti-inflammatory responses, and if those aren't working right, it can't effectively function, which those will help our skin barrier. Okay, so here's an interesting study. There's a bunch of volunteers who took probiotics, a certain strain of probiotics, for 2 months, and had decreased in skin sensitivity, and in effect attributed to an observed increased circulating transforming growth factor, known to be favorable on barrier integrity. What does this mean? Their skin functions improved after 2 months of taking probiotic supplements. Consistency and time. See my puppies. Okay, one more thing, and how it's in regards to stress, and why anybody who's under any chronic stress or increased stress should take a look at their gut health. Stress affects the nervous system, the reproductive system, the musculoskeletal system, endocrine system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, and the gastrointestinal system. Stress is associated with changes in gut bacteria, which can turn and influence mood. Thus, the gut's nerves, bacteria strongly influence the brain, and vice versa. Stress can result in more or less eating or unhealthy diets, which can deteriorate one's mood and can result in heartburn, acid reflux. Stress can also make swallowing food more difficult or increase the amount of air that's swallowed, which increases burning, gassiness, bloating. Stress can weaken the intestinal barrier and allow bacteria and other invaders to enter the body. So if we're not constantly trying to build up that barrier, things are going to get into our bloodstream and affect all the different systems of our body. Because stress affects so many aspects of the body, including the gut, when we look at the gut, we also need to look at stress management. And so that's things like looking at what's causing stress and coping tools to help with that stress. Mindfulness, essential oils, breathing techniques. There's exercise and diet. Let's go into that a little bit more. So with the diet, there are foods that we want to limit. There are things that we want to limit. So avoid or limit foods with added sugars. This is both processed sugars and artificial sweeteners like Splenda, those kinds of things that are like the Diet Coke. Definitely want to limit those kinds of things. We also want to limit processed foods. The processed foods and refined foods lack the diversity that our gut needs. Those processed foods are not feeding the bacteria. They're not doing anything for it. Consider avoiding or limiting alcohol. Research studies have found that alcoholism changed the intestinal microbiome. However, research is lacking on the effect of moderate alcohol consumption on gut bacteria. So consider limiting or getting rid of it. Consider limiting gluten and dairy. We've worked with some people where they just limit or get rid of for a time gluten and dairy, and they've found improvements in a lot of things. Consider doing a digestive cleanse, just a gentle digestive cleanse for 30 days to help clear out the gut to get ready for supplements. Next, we're going to talk about those supplements. Why would we want probiotics? Like I was saying, there's expanding scientific evidence pointing to the benefits of probiotics on human health. So choosing the right probiotics is important. Young Living has some amazing probiotics. The two I'm going to talk about right now are Life 9 and the Kids Sense Mighty Pro. Life 9 probiotics are targeted release capsules, which means they go past the stomach and actually enter into the gut. Their high potency combines 17 billion live cultures from 9 beneficial bacteria strains, and it promotes healthy digestion, helps maintain normal intestinal function, and all over support of the immune system. The Mighty Sense or the Kids Sense Mighty Pro are all the strains of good probiotics, 8 billion live cultures, and it's also a prebiotic, so it's a 2-in-1. I have a lot of adults. I take the Kids Sense Mighty Pro because it's great all-in-one and it tastes amazing. My kiddo thinks that it's like a treat. She's very excited to take it. You also want to consider diet-wise putting in fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, cultured milk, yogurt, kefir water, kombucha, etc. So, in closing, if you want to get a hold of some of that information on how to get a hold of some of those probiotics, check the link in my bio. It will lead you to a checklist of what you're interested in. Just click on that and it'll send me your email and I'll get in touch with you soon.